Hey guys, I am Sarah, and we are here to talk to you a little bit about the best ways you can kind of serve and love kids who maybe have a kind of a rough background during Sunday school. Thank you so much for coming and being willing to learn. So a little bit of a background about me. I have 4 kids, and 2 of them we adopted from Uganda when they were 4 years old, and so we've had quite a bit to kind of work through with them to figure out how best to love them and help them feel safe and secure and really kind of thrive.
And I'm Beth, and we have 8 kids. 2 of them were adopted from just locally, and we've had them for 6 years. So what we were wanting to do today is to not give you a list of things that you need to do on top of all the other things you need to do on Sunday morning, but to really empower you and give you tools that will hopefully help your day go smoother and not have a lot of anxiety and stuff about that. So let's see, where are we going to start?
I think we kind of want to start and just talk about the fundamentals about what is different with a kid who has trauma or hurt in their background compared to, a kid who is just your typical, normal, healthy kind of behaving kid.
And it's helpful to remember that we are both coming from like an attachment issue, neglect, abuse type, that kind of post-traumatic stress. These tools could help you with other kids as well, but that's not our scope. That's not what we've had experience with. So, and we're both very open. So if you have questions, we would love to talk to you more about it. But what we want to talk to you is give you like a little glimpse into the brain of a hurt child or a child that's had a different type of background with neglect and stuff. So one thing to remember that was really helpful for me was I looked at my child and thought they should act like a 3-year-old or however old they were. But their brain doesn't work like that. Their brain is typically stuck at the time of most trauma. So for us, it was 16 months, and that even happens now. So when they are triggered, they will revert back to this time of the most trauma. And also remember their brains, it's not that they want to disobey, it's not that their brains just are underdeveloped or are not developed in certain areas, and it causes them to act in certain ways. So if you know why their brains are doing things, sometimes it's easier to have empathy and actually know how to help them. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, one thing I want to add to that is kids with trauma in their background rarely ever feel safe. So any kind of environment they walk into, they're like all threat levels are up because they are trying to think of how they can protect themselves from being hurt. So think about when you're in a scary situation, if you almost have a close call with a car accident or you get lost, kind of the anxiety that causes, that's how hurt kids feel 100% of the time. And so they have a really difficult time making completely rational and conscious decisions because they're scared and they just want to survive. So that's just a tiny, super, big overview, I guess, of the background of these kids and why they act how they do.
One thing I wanted to add real quick is they also operate out of shame. So they will withdraw from you, and this is kind of where the gospel gets to enter in a really sweet way. They will withdraw and want to stay away from you, and our job is not to give them control, but to say, to pursue them and desire them. We love you even in this. We miss you. Come join us. Come hang with us. And even if they withdraw from you, their reaction is going to be, I don't want to be, like if Sarah's teaching, I don't want to be near Sarah. She saw me at this really bad. So Sarah's job is to come up to them later and pursue them, or next week, and show them that your behavior doesn't define who you are. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Hey guys, in this little video, we want to talk to you a little bit about physical touch and how that impacts hurt kids compared to other kids. And so kids who are normally like healthy, well-attached, usually have a really strong bond with mom and dad, and they know appropriate physical touch, and they have appropriate stranger danger and all those kinds of things. Kids from hurt backgrounds don't understand that. They don't feel a safety bond with mom and dad, and so they don't know what is and isn't okay. Kids from hurt backgrounds generally use physical touch for 2 things. First is as a way to control and kind of get attention, and the second is just to create superficial connections with somebody that in the long term can be really destructive.
So the ways that you might see this in the classroom would be a child coming up and holding you, or wanting to sit on your lap, or just kind of consuming all of your time. And I'll just tell you, this is the part that I struggle with the most. And we've been doing this 6 years. And so I am all the time touching Sarah's kids on the head or their arms and forgetting this. So you are going to forget this. It's okay. It's okay. And with a normal background, you're going to want to foster that bond. So what I would encourage you to do is high fives instead of hugs, because they do need physical touch. They do need to know that there's nothing wrong with them. But instead, every time you want to go hug them, give them a high five. And they need that. So when you've asked them to do something and you know it was hard for them to do and they did it, that's a high five. Good job, you know?
And believe it or not, kids are going to feel safer when you are determining how they're going to respond and what kind of thing that is. So I know the first couple times somebody wants a hug and you're like, no, just give me a high five. You're going to feel like a terrible person, turning away physical affection. But the kids feel safe internally when they know somebody else is in charge and deciding what is and isn't healthy. That's how they feel safe. And so you're helping them and you're helping mom and dad as you direct the physical relationship into a healthy way and help encourage them to understand what is and isn't appropriate to do with adults. I remember when we first brought our twins home, we had like an exterminator, somebody come over. He came inside and sat down at the table, and one of my kids just climbed right up in his lap because they didn't know. They never understood what is appropriate and inappropriate touch. So we've had to work over and over and over and over again with them to help them understand when and how to do that. But they still need reminders, and we trust you guys as the teachers to help them with that when we're not around.
And this is another place we could talk about just they need help bonding to mom and dad. So this is life or death for these kids. I know that sounds over the top, but this usually determines if a child is able to heal, whether they can bond with their mom and dad. Now, mom and dad is adoptive mom and dad or foster mom and dad. They are mom and dad. They need a mom and dad. If it's not foster mom and dad, they don't have one. So, so the more that you guys can cheerlead for mom and dad, the better. And that would maybe look like, what are some examples of?
You know, if they come in and you compliment them on something like, oh, those are cute shoes, then follow it up with, your mom and dad must really love you to give you those things. Or if they tell you something special they did, wow, mom and dad must take really good care of you. It's going to feel weird at first, but whatever you can do to reaffirm mom and dad's love for them is just, it's huge in helping these kids understand that mom and dad are good and they love them.
That's right. And one of the things they want to do sometimes is triangulate teachers against mom and dad, and that really shows them that, you know, we're a team. Mom and dad and teacher, we're a team. Okay, guys, for our last video, we want to talk to you about some real practical things that we've seen in the classroom. And one of these things, just to give you a little background, is something I call twitchy brain. You're going to see there's a place that the brain kind of functions in that our kids are in a lot, and it looks like impulsivity. You're up in somebody's face. You can't keep your hands to yourself, very, very, very loud, and just can't calm down. It's kind of like your brain's just twitching.
Hyperactive.
Yes, just insane. So, and it's really hard to run a classroom with somebody that's that ramped up. And so we just want to give you a couple real practical things that you can do to try to help flip their brain over into that other reasoning and making better decisions place. Do you want to add anything before I go?
Yeah. So again, the theoretical side of this is that our kids need structure and they need order, and that's how they feel safe. And so you're gonna have to like overcome some of your own personal, I guess, views of like the nice thing to do for kids is to always say yes, or that the kids will always tell you what they need when they need it. And remember that you're the one as the adult and the teacher who's in charge, and you know the best thing for the kids even if they don't. And so the more structure and order you can provide our kids, the safer they will be. They don't know how to give themselves that kind of structure. So the more reined in, the more instructions almost, the healthier an environment it is for her kids.
Right. So what this is going to look like is you're sitting there and you're trying to get your class done, and they're touching each other and they're messing with each other, and it's just crazy. And so one thing is give them each their own square. At the Taekwondo place, we've got lots of squares, so give them each their own square. You can also tell them all of them. You know, a lot of times you don't want to single out one child. So tell everybody, I want everybody to put your hands together in your lap. That might seem weird because some of the bigger kids are so old, but they live in the house with us. They are used to it. You're okay. go for it.
And you can always move them to a different square if they can't control themselves next to a certain individual.
Right. Another thing, to get them flipped over to the reasoning side of their brain, one thing to do is get a lot of oxygen to the brain. So one thing you can do, and you're going to do this with the whole class, is just tell them, hey, pick your favorite hot food. So ramen noodles, chocolate chip cookies, hot chocolate, whatever. And pretend you're holding it. And you're going to take a deep breath, and then you're going to blow it out. And you're going to do that a couple times, and it's silly and it's fun, and it sometimes will flip them over into that other side of their brain that helps them to reason better. Jumping jacks is another one that we use. Spread out. I mean, you want them to succeed at this, so make sure you're giving them the chance to succeed. So spread out so they're not going to hit each other. Do jumping jacks, but you say when it starts and you say when it stops.
Yeah.
That?
Those are all great ideas just to get their body to physiologically start doing different things, which helps their brains kind of come back to feeling a little more safe and controlled.
And you're doing it in a fun way, which is what they need. They need lots of warm, good memories, so you're helping to create those.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've personally seen is, I need to go to the bathroom, I need to go to the bathroom, when they just sit down. So one way to do that is to be like, okay, and I'll take care of that. But don't take care of it right away. You take care of it on your time. It might be 10 seconds. It might be 2 minutes. And it is a need that needs to be addressed, but needs to be addressed on your time and not theirs. Or how about this for you? I'm hungry. Mommy and Daddy didn't feed me. I'm so hungry. I'm hungry.
That's not true. We fed them. We promise. So that's when we say, okay, you can have a snack at snack time. And that's what it is. That's not a surprise for our kids to hear, at least for both of us. That's what happens in our own homes. And so if they hear something else, that's what the surprise is for them. So they are trying to figure out what their limits are in the classroom environment. So the more limits you put on them, probably the better they're going to behave in general, because they know they can't get away with the stuff that they can't get away with at home.
One more thing that I've used is if I've seen that a lot of it's voice, and there's a lot of control with voice. So really loud squealing all of a sudden, it just kind of scares you. So if you're taking them to the bathroom and you've seen that they can't succeed in the Taekwondo studio, then go ahead and tell them, we're going to put your hand over your mouth when you walk to the bathroom. So you want to set them up for success. So
yeah. I had one other thing. I'm trying to remember what it is right now.
You want me to ramble for a while?
Yeah, just ramble for a minute.
I got nothing.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think the other thing that helps our kids to feel a little control is giving them a task to do. So if you can ask a child to do something like clean up the crayons or help collect the books or giving them a project to work on independently, that helps them feel a little bit, that helps them feel special and important, and also gives them something to do, which is going to keep them from acting out. So think about those things. Whatever you can employ the kids to help you with during Sunday school is great, but it's also something that's earned. So if they can't do it well, then it's okay for you to take it away. Just do your best to not shame them. And then I think the final thing I want to add is that we as parents want to know everything that goes on, because we know we can help clean things up on the back end if something bad happened, or help know how to prep the kids the next week and stuff. So if our kid gets upset or needs something, especially with our kids, don't hesitate to get the parents. We don't want you comforting our kids if they get hurt or anything like that. We want to be the ones to do that, and we want to know exactly how they were so we can follow up on that and help make sure they're safe, and also maybe give you some ideas of what to do in the future.
Yeah. Healing happens usually afterwards. So
yeah. So thanks for listening,
Thank you, guys.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask us or email us or whatever. Or if there's anything you want to learn more about, just let us know. Thanks.